What is over allocation and how can you profit from it? So over allocation in the NFT space has kind of become the new meta at the moment. Now, over allocation is when a project will say, I have a supply of 5,000, they will whitelist 3,000 people, but give them the ability to mint 2 each. So that means with a supply of 5,000, there's a max kind of minting for the whitelist period at around that 6,000 mark, which means that if people are max minting, it's going to sell out and people on the whitelist aren't going to be able to get in. Hey, hold up real quick. I just want to let you know that over 50% of you aren't subscribed. You can see this kind of chart right here. Now, if this is the first video that you watched, don't worry about subscribing. If this is the third, fourth, or fifth video that you've watched of mine, scroll down there and hit up that subscribe button. Now, when it comes down to it, and this is just basically it, the more subscribers that I have, the more likely I am to get sponsors for the channel, which can then mean I can put more resources, financial resources to get more people to kind of write thumbnails, edit, do that so I can put out more pieces of content. So if you like this content and it's free, scroll down there, hit up that subscribe button, come back up. Okay, let's kick on. Now, to kind of talk about how you can profit from this, I've got to talk about why projects are kind of doing this. Now, there are two reasons why projects kind of do this. One of them is the sort of the obvious one, which is it's a mistake and they've kind of allocated more than they thought they would, and they thought they would honor their agreement and actually kind of give those spots to the people that they said that they would give. So they may have sort of given out so many spots and said that they would for a particular giveaway because you have different moderators and different people kind of doing outreach and it's not kept up track. The other is the ability to kind of deliberately over allocate knowing that the project will sell out sooner, because typically what people will do when they're on a whitelist period is they will sit back, they'll wait for the last minute to kind of mint in to see if the project is hyped and is good. Now, to combat this, projects have been over allocating to kind of make it seem like if you're not there minting straight away on the whitelist, you're not going to have a chance to get it because it will sell out. So the idea is it starts to build FOMO within the actual whitelist sort of period itself, which is crazy because a whitelist period would usually run between 12 and 24 hours, but these are selling out within sort of 30 minutes. So the reason that they do this is, first up, they want to kind of create a whole bunch of kind of FOMO, but they also want to make sure the project sells out and retains that momentum. But on the flip side is that if a project does over allocate, there is a lot of FUD thrown onto the project because they are kind of doing something semi-deceptive. Now, I want to have a caveat and say that any project that over allocates isn't deceptive. They're not doing it on purpose. There can be honest mistakes, but I'm not going to be naming any particular projects here, and I'm not referring to any particular projects in general. When I'm talking about this, I just want to make that clear. So how can you profit from over allocation? There are two ways that you can profit from it. First off is being on the whitelist. If you catch wind that there is an over allocation, keeping an eye on the amount of people that are minting, like sort of how fast the mint is happening, and then jumping in right at the last second. What this means is that when they are at full capacity and it's all done, people will then start to kind of FOMO in and kick into gear, which means that you're then able to kind of ride up the pump. Now, this pump usually lasts between 30 minutes and 2 hours. Now, I'd say on average, a good sort of 30 minutes to 1 hour is a good mark to kind of be selling at. Now, this is not financial advice, and you should kind of see if these are part of your risk tolerances, but usually if you're getting in at mint, you will sort of see these 3-4x gains. And that's if it's a lower price. If it's a 0.1, 0.15 mint, then you might be getting a 2x gain. And the idea is that once you hit completely sold out, panic starts to kick in for these people. And then also the public realizes that, hey, there isn't going to be left for the public sale, and they start kicking in, and then it starts to run up very fast. Now, what you'll notice is there'll be a lot of volume. There should be sort of maybe 30 to sort of 60 sales a minute, so almost a sale a second, just pumping through, and it's very, very fast. It goes crazy. At this point in time, you know that it's going to run up. You can then set a list price, kind of gauging at how many minutes, how fast the volume is going and how many minutes are up there. So the idea is that if there is sort of 30 sales happening in a minute, and you know that the sort of thickness of the floor is around sort of 120, you know it's going to be sort of 4 minutes until it kicks up to where you'd like to be, and you think that's fine. So you can then almost count out sort of 10, 15, 20 minutes, set your sell price at that point, and then hopefully catch it on the ride up. Now, the reason that you'd set this sell price and not just sit there hovering and waiting is if you set that sell price and it catches on the way up, you've made profit and you're good. Now, the other way to do this is if you catch wind of an over allocation, what you can then do is have a look at where the floor price is when you're kind of getting through these first few sales. So just say it's a supply of 5,000. Through that first sort of 2,000 to 3,000 sales, what will happen is the sales will be going slow. People will kind of catch wind that there's over allocation. And what then will happen by these sellers is some of them will want to just offload, maybe not paper handing and going underneath mint price, but close to mint price because they just want to get out because they think it's going to fail, which means that you are then able to jump in, scoop that up, and then kind of ride it up. Because even if you get at sort of 20 or 30% above the mint price, what you can then do, if there is an over allocation, you're just going to be reducing that 20 or 30% on that sort of 2, 3, 4x, which isn't too bad. So the idea is that if you're catching wind that there is a project that's over allocating, and you know that, and like you've got good information, you've got good intel, good alpha that it is over allocated, what you can then do, keep an eye on something and then maybe set try to sweep the floor at around that kind of just close to mint price. So if anything kind of hits that mint, you can then jump in knowing that the over allocation will usually kick on. So those are the two different ways that you can kind of profit from over allocating. Now, I'm not an advocate for the over allocation method that projects are using. The reason being is it usually kind of fuds the project and kind of doesn't instill confidence longer term in the project. When a project does do an honest over allocation, what they will then do is they may actually do a kind of sort of refund buyback. So the idea is that just say the mint price is 0.05 and you end up buying at 0.1, they will then give you a 0.05 sort of refund from the actual mint, which then shows that it was an honest over allocation and they want you to get into that project, which means that you're able to then kind of buy in, like sort of sweep the floor, and they'll refund you back to where that mint price was. So I have seen that happen before, and I think that is an honest sort of go at trying to mediate the aspect of over allocation. So if you are going into a project, you are either minting or looking at the floor with an over allocation, what you should do is you should be fast. This should be very fast flip. It should be the kind of thing you get in either at the mint or you get in close to that floor, the mint price. You then kind of set that sell price at that 2, 3, 4x, wherever it kind of is, wherever you feel like a good sizable sort of number is. Set that sell order, maybe a couple stops below, just to ensure that it kind of does trigger and it does sell. Because what will happen is if you do get greedy and hold on to this and think it's going to run for 3, 4, 5 hours or days after, that's not going to be the case. It's usually that 30 minutes to 2 hour period, but usually closer to within that hour from sellout. So that is what over allocation is, why projects use it, and how you can use it to actually make some profits. Now, these aren't going to be life-changing gains or flips, but the idea is that if you can be making sort of 0.1 flips each day, at the end of the week, that adds up to a sizable chunk of money. So hopefully you found value in this video. If you did, please consider hitting up that subscribe button, or while you're down there, also hit up the like button. As always, it's been a pleasure having you with me. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.